Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Obsessive Compulsive Gaming. I am the Obsessive Compulsive Gamer, and this is my review for MINDSEYE. So dear viewer, just like that beautiful bearded bastard Barry Bertrum, you're probably wondering,
what is this? What is it? What is this?
MINDSEYE released very recently. And I probably don't have to tell you, dear viewers, that this game, prior to its release, had received a considerable amount of controversy. Everything from staff at the studio who made this game resigning, to how the game looked, to the fact that no one was able to get hands-on with the game. And as a consequence, most people probably thought this game was going to be about as enjoyable to play as juggling dog turds. And while I don't think the game is quite that gross, it does come pretty close though. I would be remiss if I didn't review this video game the only way I know how. Badly. And let's start with what I actually liked about MINDSEYE. Oh, speaking of things I like it when you subscribe to the channel and like the videos. So get on that post-haste, dear viewer. Doing so will allow me to live out my lifelong fantasy of having 1,210 subscribers. So the first thing I actually enjoyed about MINDSEYE was its story. Of course, the whole thing is complete and utter nonsense. Some garbage about aliens, about AI, about an implant that gives our main protagonist flashes of his past that he can't quite remember, to an evil dickhead who wants to rule the world with an army of robots. It's cheesy nonsense, but I can't say that it was boring. At least for the most part, anyway. Another thing I actually sort of enjoyed about the game was its overall gameplay. I'm a fan of a good old third-person, cover-based shooter. I used to love playing games like Spec Ops The Line, the Kane and Lynch games. There were a couple of great games on the PlayStation 3. Binary Domain comes to mind. Fuse. And speaking of PlayStation 3 games, let's get on to what I didn't like so much about the game. Oh, I'm sorry, were you hoping I was going to have more positive things to say about this game? That's a good one. This game is very much a remnant of a forgotten era. Do not let the fact that this game is on the PlayStation 5 fool you, dear viewer. This game looks like a PlayStation 3 title. In fact, in some ways it looks even worse than an early PlayStation 3 game. The graphics here, for the most part, well, they're just not very good. And that's without even mentioning the myriad of glitches and screen tearing and pop-in that I experienced in my roughly 13-hour playthrough of this game. I don't know where the development costs went for this game, but it certainly didn't go into making this game look as good as other PlayStation 5 titles like the Uncharted games, or The Last of Us, or Horizon Zero Dawn, or even bloody Days Gone, which I reviewed recently. And yes, most of those games were in fact PlayStation 4 titles, but they still look a million times better than this game. Speaking of this game's budget, that leads me very nicely to tell you that this is one of the most sparse, open world city type video games that I think I've ever played. Yes, one of the producers on this game was involved with the Grand Theft Auto titles at one point, and I've seen a lot of comparisons being made to that series of video games. But while those games have sprawling cityscapes you can drive through freely, getting into all sorts of mayhem like side missions and side stories and side-splitting shenanigans. This game, well, let me just describe it for you. Basically, this game will tell you you're going to go somewhere to carry out a mission. So you'll jump in the car, and on the little mini-map that appears at the top of the screen, you know, that line comes up that guides you to your destination so you know where to drive, etc. Well, let's just say, for example, if you decide, oh, I'm not going to go to the mission yet, I'm going to drive around the city, check out what there is to do, you will instantly fail the mission and get sent back to a checkpoint. Now, I don't know if this is because the developers couldn't allow you to just drive freely through the city, because the whole game would just completely fall apart, because this game is only being held together with bloody sticky tape or something. Maybe duct tape. Duct tape's a bit stronger than sticky tape, I find. Now, yes, there is a point very, very late in the game's story where it pops up on your screen saying, oh look, you can go and freely explore the city now. I don't know why you can't do that for the whole bloody game. Oh, but I mentioned side quests before. Yes, this game doesn't have any. That's right, an open world / open city type video game doesn't have any side quests. Yes, there's little shitty mini games you can get into, but in order to access them, you have to open the pause menu and then select them from there. Nowhere on this game's map, in fact, I couldn't even find a map for the game, but nowhere can you just decide, I'm not going to do the main story, I'm just going to go do this side quest. You can't do that. So basically, you're doing the main quest, you're going into the pause menu to do some crappy mini-games, or you're doing absolutely nothing. Probably returning this game for a full refund. I can see a lot of people doing that. I might do that. Now there's an idea. I was going to go and see my psychiatrist today, but no, I think I'll just go and return this game instead. So yes, I'm very sad to report that most of the controversy that was surrounding this game prior to its launch is, it's pretty justified. The game does have a half-decent story. It's very cheesy, which I quite enjoy. Though the ending is so damn abrupt. And what the hell did that after credits scene mean? Ugh. Were they trying to set this up for a sequel? Sequel. That's a good one. No, this game isn't very good. It looks like garbage. It plays okay. There's no side quests. Your character can't even throw grenades or punch enemies. I know. What is this, 1980 bloody 3? No, dear viewer, just you keep hold of your hard-earned money. Save it for the upcoming release of Death Stranding 2. Now that's probably going to be an amazing video game. Therefore, I declare that MINDSEYE is complete and utter garbage. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, my review for MINDSEYE. If you enjoyed this little review of mine, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't enjoyed it, well then feel free to give me a thumbs down. But please remember the single most important thing I always tell you, dear viewer, and that is to always stay obsessed with gaming. Are you still here? Oh. You must have really enjoyed this video then. In that case, you had better subscribe to the channel and check out our other content. Otherwise, you're a booby pants, and no one wants to be a booby pants.